Okay, so let's proceed. So we are done with till now. We have talked about project, what project is. So in a project, we are going to produce an unique output. Project will have a start date and end date. That's mandatory. So project will have a typical process like initiation, planning and design, execution and validation. Project is initiated because of demand in the market to tackle or compete with our competitors or peers. We may try to increase our market share, and there are so many other uh, reasons why we start a project. Then we have also understood the differences between operation and project. So basically, operation will be continuous process and project will be temporary in nature. Temporary in nature does not mean it has to be completed within a short period of time. It can go year long, but there should be an end date for any project. So this is a summary of what we have learned till now. Moving on to role of a project manager. So till now we have been talking about the processes, the operational process and project management process. But when it comes to the individual person, so the project is normally managed by the project manager. So here we are going to talk about what his skill sets are, what he does as a project manager. So just have a look at the slide that these are the typical activities done by a project manager. Then we are going to talk about it. If you ask me, I am going to start it from planning. So first, project manager is going to do the planning. So once the plan is in place, you are going to distribute the work and activities with the team. Prepare a strategy, cost. You need to communicate the strategy and planning, or maybe task with the team. You have to ensure the quality of the output, that it should meet your uh, planned or designed whatever you planning or design whatever you did. So output should meet all your planning. So here comes the quality aspect. Then comes your product status. So you need to provide the status of each and every stages of your development. You need to meet the you know you need to meet the needs of the product and projects. So there could be a lot of demands in the project or in the product that you are going to uh, take up as a project. So those features, functionalities or objective you have to meet if you are a project manager. Then obviously there are changes. Changes means, suppose you have already taken up the project with certain amount of scope, and in future the client says that yes, there are going to be some changes in the scope, so that you have to take up. So those are going to be your change request, and that the project manager is supposed to work upon. Project manager is also supposed to ensure the user needs who are going to use the product created out of the project. So he needs to ensure that the user needs are incorporated in that output. Monitoring is basically the validation technique. Basically, you need to check whether the output is with the appropriate quality as planned out or not. So you need to check all that time, that whether you are producing the right material or not. So that's all about the project manager's activities. So basically, being a project manager, you should be able to plan out the project. You should be able to assign the task to the team members. Before you assign the task to the team members, you need to, uh, split each and every activities, and then you assign the task to the team members. You need to, manage the cost of the project, because the cost cannot be beyond plan. Okay, in a plan you also define how much cost you are going to incur in the project, so you cannot go beyond that. So all those are basically the part of project management. Then you ensure that the proper, deliverables are actually meeting the quality. And finally, when the project is done, you close it. So basically, these are the activities of a project manager. If we move to the next slide, we are going to start talking about business analysis. So till now, anybody has any question related to project management or project manager? If no, then we are going to move to business analysis.
I think I'm good.
Okay, yeah. Then let's move to business analysis techniques. Okay, so how many of you know the business analysis, or you have experienced some of the business analyst in your organization, or maybe in the past you worked in a similar project? Do you have any exposure to that? Do you have any understanding of business analysis from your previous experience?
I just know that as a business analyst professional, he or she should gather requirements according to the business needs of the organization. You know, I don't know, it would be any kind of software development or I don't know, like I've heard of vendor management or something like that, and he or should be required to elicit the requirements and thereby communicate to the technical team so that the technical team would understand what the business team needs. Some like that's what I know about as a business analyst professional.
Correct, absolutely correct. Anybody else would like to add something to that?
It's about understanding the business operation, the people involved in it, the process and the policies. So if possible, if there are the information systems involved in it, the environment, and then creating a business model is the key, and then organizing the business meetings, so that organizing meetings, then designing the workflows, and facilitating the skill set is what I think.
Correct.
And trying to do studies related to feasibility, and redesigning the architecture if possible. If there is a change management environment going on, then we're trying to restructure the architecture then deciding the project scope, and risk assessment and do the evaluation before the deliverable is what I think, what a project, I mean, what a business analysis is, technically speaking.
Correct. Makes sense. So whatever you talked about business analysis, if I just have to summarize the same, it would be just like requirement gathering. If I talk about the business analyst activities, requirement gathering or requirement elicitation, then analyzing requirement, stakeholder management. He has to do a lot of documentation as well, because once he gathers the requirement, he has to document the requirement also after analyzing. And then, yeah, there will be a lot of scope for feasibility as well. But yeah, when we come to the feasibility chapter, we will also see that business analyst is not supposed to do the technical feasibility. He will be doing the business feasibility, logical feasibility, etc. So the technical feasibility analysis are normally done by the technical team. Yeah. So apart from that, business analyst is also involved in some part of testing. So that testing does not involve him to become technical tester. He has to become a functional tester rather. So normally, if you see, there are different types of technique, different techniques for testing methodology, I would say. Like one would be uh, the system testing. Okay, before system testing comes, you obviously see that unit testing. Unit testing is normally done by the development team or technical team. Then there is a scope for system testing, which is done by the testing team, the typical testers, and the business analyst normally does the UAT, so which is called user acceptance testing. So those are normally in functional in nature. So business analyst would gather requirement, document requirement, manage the stakeholders, communicate the requirement with the technical team, and he has to do a lot of functional testing as well. Make sense? So these are the typical activities of a business analyst. Now, how he do that, how he does it, and what are the typical deliverables of business analyst in each of the phases, we are going to talk about that. And what kind of skill set is required to perform a job of a business analyst. That's what we are going to talk about today. Any question till now?
I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, but I don't know if you can just explain me uh, uh, who is actually a stakeholder? Anybody who sponsors the project, or anybody who designs the who wants the business objective, achieved in a certain time frame.
Yeah, we have a chapter on that stakeholder management actually, but yeah, as you have asked, I would get into that. So stakeholder would be basically anybody who is involved in the project or going to be affected by the project. First is the sponsor. So sponsor is the person who are going to pay the money to initiate the project or complete the project. So he is going to be one of the stakeholders. Apart from that, there will be stakeholders like requirement provider who are going to provide you the requirement. You need to identify them. There could be requirement reviewer, the people who are going to review the requirement provided by some other stakeholders. Okay, so there are two people involved. So those are also stakeholders. Then there are people who will provide you the sign off. Okay, so that sign off normally are provided by some other people. Okay, then there will be end users who are going to actually use the software or the solution that you are going to produce. So Okay, just give me 1 second. I need to put my laptop on charge. Just a second. Yeah, I'm back. So there will be stakeholders like the end users as well who are going to actually use the software that is produced by the technical team. Now stakeholders are also those who are working in the project from the technical side. So the IT solution provider is also a part of your stakeholders. So you need to manage the technical team, you need to manage the sponsor expectation, you need to gather the requirement from the right people, you need to get the requirement reviewed from the right people, you need to meet the requirement of the end users. So as a business analyst, you have to manage the expectation of all these stakeholders. So you are always surrounded by them. So you need to have that skill to manage them. So we will get into that chapter in detail. Does it answer to your question?
Yes, it does. Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Any other question?
Actually, I have one more question. I'm sorry. Like, you can give me a quick answer. Business analyst can be in any function, right? Like, but mainly business analyst you find in an IT, mostly in an IT background. But I've seen business analyst like purely as a finance kind of a role. So what's the big difference between like a purely finance kind of a business analyst and like an IT business analyst? Give me like a small, quick answer. I know I'm taking up those time, but you know.
No, it's fine. This is the reason we are conducting the session, that you can get clarification on all the doubts that you have. That's fine. You can answer questions. Yeah. So the difference between a business analyst in IT and the BA in financial domain. Well, the basic difference is that uh, the business analysts working in IT are basically going to be process oriented. So they basically gather the requirement related to what kind of software is going to be developed. Okay, but yeah, in finance you will see that there are two types of jobs in business analysis basically. One is related to, suppose if I work in a bank as a business analyst, so my activity would be to implement the different softwares for that particular bank only. Okay, so basically we'll see that the business analyst working in any bank would be having the knowledge of the bank very well. So they will know what are the products, what are the services of the bank, they know the banking processes, challenges as well. Now there is a different type of business analyst within the financial institutions as well. So they are basically analysts. I'm talking about the second
Okay, so
category. Yeah, go on.
so just like in Naveen, so would they be requiring to have knowledge of both IT and the finance domain?
Yeah, the people
Okay,
who are working in bank
okay,
as a business analyst, they will gradually gather the banking knowledge. But yes, the IT and
okay,
process knowledge, I mean the business analysis knowledge mainly, I won't say IT, you need to have business analysis knowledge, not the technical part of it,
okay.
but the IT, yeah,
And that remains the same, right? Be it any domain, the business analyst, basically the skill set would remain the same. It doesn't pertain to any domain, right? Like it can be the same across domains. The business
yes,
analyst skill set, I mean. Okay, okay,
correct, absolutely correct. You need to know that business analysis domain. which is basically the skill of business analysis, which will remain same irrespective of whatever industry you are working in. Yes, if you work in a bank, you will gain the banking experience. If you work in insurance, you will know more about the insurance processes. So the difference of domain would be basically based on your experience, and that's what you need to gain over a period of time. But yes, the thing which is common in any of the institute, any of the industry, is your business analysis skill. Now we would also come across with some of the other business analysts who are basically called analyst, or sometimes you will say uh, financial analyst or somebody like that. So they basically work on the data interpretation part. So they are not basically process oriented, but they are on the I would say financial side, of business. So they are called financial analyst also, but that's not the objective of the session. That would be basically a separate training altogether. So you will see that their background are basically uh, from the finance. Okay, either they will be from the business background, from financial markets or etc. So they will be focused on the equity market, forex trading market, or maybe sometimes with the balance sheet, financial profit and loss account, etc of companies. So that is a separate domain altogether. So they are sometimes also called business analyst, but actually they are financial analyst or data analyst.
All right. All right. Yeah, that answers my question. Thanks.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Okay, before I get into this business analysis, let me just ask you one more thing. Can you tell me uh, whether business analysts work in project or in operation?
Project.
Okay, anybody else?
Uh, I didn't hear your question, Abhijit. I believe there was some problem. Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, I was asking, uh, business analysts work in project or operation?
Oh, from where do they work, you mean? I feel they work in project.
Okay, okay, so I got two replies that business analysts work in project. Yeah, so business analyst, if you are working in any IT company, so basically they will be working in project. But as we are talking about the banking project, like banking organization, so if you work in a bank, you have to work in operation. So as a business analyst, you can work in both project and operation. So project will be taken up once there is a specific requirement. You know what is to be done. You know there is a start date and end date, and what you have to deliver is also defined. Then you work in project. As a business analyst, again the process is the same: requirement gathering, requirement documentation, analysis, etc etc. So in operation, how it is going to differ, how it is going to be different, let me tell you. Suppose if you work in a bank, so it will become your regular task. you know it will become your operational task. So every day you have to gather new requirements, you have to just document the same, you have to present it to the management. So all that activities, the same activities of business analysis, will become an operational task for you. Getting the difference? So in a project you will be having specific objective in mind, but when it comes to any uh, other institution, solely where you are working, so the client is your organization only, so that time it will become an operational activity. Make sense? Any doubt?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Welcome. Okay, now we can move to business analysis. Okay, before that, I think you are aware about the training session, right? What exactly we are going to cover in the training and uh, how we are going to do that. Let me just give you a
Yes.
highlight of the same as well. Uh, if you just look at the overall course material that we have, so basically we are going to cover these sessions and cover these topics, I would say.
Mhm.
So the practice of a business analyst, SDLC, then enterprise analysis, landscape, stakeholder. So somebody was asking about stakeholder management. So those are also part of it. Then requirement gathering technique. So we are getting into the detail part of it. So requirement gathering, requirement analysis, requirement documentation, different types of use cases and modeling technique. And finally, the requirement management. So all these are going to be the part of the course. Make sense? So we are going to go step by step. I need to check how many, how we are going to complete the session. So based on, uh, you know, the time, starting time, we'll be able to, complete the session. So I think there would be around 15 sessions. Let me just check how many sessions we have. Yeah, 15 sessions. So within that, it will be completed. So this includes the interview technique also. This includes your technique related to how you can improve your resume so that you can face the interview as well. You can talk about the business analysis things and get a job.
Hello,
Hello?
Abhijit, are you ending the class?
No, no.
Okay, you guys are continuing, right? So meanwhile, I'm leaving the office. So guys, please do provide your email IDs and pass. I'm sorry, I'm into that. Your email IDs and phone number. I'll contact you back. Oh, I have students and quizzes, but I do not have Smith, email ID, phone number. If you could provide that, I'll call you back tomorrow. You type it in your text box. Abhishek will provide me and I'll collect it from him. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you can provide your email ID and phone number in the chat window. So basically, these are going to be the